subject to talk about. Alright, I'm gonna get started. I don't know why this is so hard. Hey guys, welcome back to my full house. Thank you so much if you went on my channel and you looked in my community post and you noticed that I put up a vote for abandonment or for chili, and I just wanted to see what you guys would like to hear me talk about, and majority of you went ahead and voted for abandonment. So you guys wanted to hear my story, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that for you guys. If you're not familiar with a community post, it just comes up in your feed. It's things that people can post, polls that you can take. It's just a good way to communicate with your viewers. So if you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe right now and hit that bell notification, and you will get all my updates. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining me on this topic, this story. This is part of my life. So grab a cup of coffee, sit down, relax, and maybe you can relate, or maybe you're just here to hear what I'm talking about. And I do want to warn some people if this is a trigger for them, talking about abandonment. Everybody has a unique story, and that's their own. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes in this sense. So please, if this is going to trigger anything for you, please don't watch this. And if you're okay watching it, go ahead and continue. All right, so first I'd like to start on a couple different things about abandonment before I get into my story right away. So there are 5 stages of abandonment, pretty much of like the grieving process, and it's called SWIRL, SWIRL. And the first stage is S for shattering. The second is W, which stands for withdrawal. The third is I for internalizing, and R represents rage, and L, lifting. So to each is their own on how the process works for them. Those are just the stages that they have talked about that goes along with abandonment, that each person will go through those stages. So it's interesting how it's called swirl, because, you know, it's just like a big spiral in the sense of effect of emotions. A lot of times for people, I don't know if it's all in the same order, or, you know, they might be out of order for others. When I was reading on this, I was so enlightened. Those stages, when I looked that up, because this is so new to me, guys, the word abandonment, I haven't felt that before, but I have felt abandonment more now in my life than I have ever felt. And I'm 34 years old with 7 children, and I'm married. And I was looking up swirl. I was so flabbergasted in the sense of, whoa, that is how I've been feeling. It's just so lovely to know that they have information out there to make sense of something that is so raw, so emotional, and so wrong at the same time, because nobody should have to walk in this lifetime feeling abandoned. That's just, it's not human nature. We are to take care of one another. Unfortunately, this is a fallen world, and there's sin, and when those things happen, make poor choices. Thank the Lord that His love is unconditional, and you're struggling with abandonment, right? I have not figured it out. This is still very raw and real to me. I really needed a safe place, and I'm sure you're feeling the same way. Basically what I'm saying is, when I looked up swirl, I wasn't looking up, I found that. I was just looking up abandonment. I was looking up the definitions. I really wanted to figure out, what is abandonment? I came across, and I looked up the definition: abandonment, the action or fact of abandoning or being abandoned. It's a noun, an act or instance of leaving a person or thing permanently and completely. If you leave a person or a thing permanently or completely, you have abandoned it. So those are not my words. Those are the words of the definition. I didn't know in other words and ways to express abandonment. This is very new and raw to me, but at the same time, it's not. If I go back to when I was a child, it's not. It's very, very much there. Abandonment is a feeling of disconnectedness, rejection, and neediness. The aftermath of this type of trauma generates a looming fear of not only losing connection with the people you love, but being faced to fend for yourself. Like, wow. That is an example of abandonment. You guys have your own story of abandonment. If you're struggling and you have clicked on this video, you have your own definition of what that means to you, just like I do. Every story is unique and every story matters. You matter. Your situation matters. It doesn't always feel that way because when you've been faced of abandonment, complete, utterly trauma. And when I experienced this trauma, it took me 48 hours to snap out of it. And in that moment of those 48 hours, I was depressed, I was confused, I was hurt, I was sad, I was angry. I felt the word abandonment. I felt like an orphan. And that's not something somebody should have to go through. And if you have gone through that, I just want to say I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you even had to go through this. And that's not of God. God does not abandon. He has unconditional love. He is a loving God. So there's so many other people in this world that you are worthy to. You are loved and cared for. And they will give you the unconditional love like our Heavenly Father does. And not only want to give it to you, but you will be able to give it back to them. See, it's not a one-way street in a marriage or in any relationship. We are to give and receive. It's not always just give. We are to receive. And so, you know your example of abandonment. What does abandonment do to a person? Some people with abandonment issues tend to push people away, remain overly guarded, which is very understandable. I mean, if somebody has traumatized you with abandoning you and not talking to you or not seeing you, and you have loved them and cared for them, and was it a perfect relationship? Absolutely not. Is there a perfect relationship anywhere? No, there's not. Do other relationships thrive more than others? Absolutely. But they had to work to get there. Not everything comes easy. People with abandonment issues avoid opening up while others become needy and codependent. Fears can impair a person's ability to trust others. And that's huge. I just wanted to give a little background on what really abandonment means. Learning how to live without that person in your life is like learning how to ride a bike all over again, learning how to walk, learning how to tie your shoe, learning how to function. You know, when you lose somebody in a death, you don't wake up the next day and you're just back to normal. You have a grieving process to go through. And that's what I'm going through right now. I'm literally grieving a death, basically. Being abandoned by somebody, you now don't talk to that person. You don't see that person. It's like as if they've died. And so I'm grieving and I'm trying to figure this all out. And I don't know, guys. I don't know. I do know that I will be okay eventually. I do know that I will be stronger. It's like when you work out and you're sore after those workouts, but when you go back and you work out again, you're getting stronger. You're building your muscle. You're building your momentum. You're pushing yourself further. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm learning what I can do. I'm learning what I can do finally. What happens when that person all of a sudden wants to be a part of your life again? Whoo! You guys, what do you do? What do you do when that person all of a sudden calls you up or texts you and says, "Can we talk?" I mean, what do you do? I know God says to forgive and give grace. But again, what do you do? When you're abandoned, you now have your guard up. It's hard to trust. Will they do it again? Do I have to go through these emotions again? And it won't ever be totally the same. I'm in the swirl of this abandonment at the moment. I'm feeling shattering, withdrawal, internalizing, rage, and lifting. But I'm not at the lifting part yet. I don't feel free from it. I don't feel better. There are moments that go by that I don't think about it because I'm busy with my 7 kids and doing homeschooling, and I'm cleaning and I'm cooking and I'm taking care of them and focusing on them. But when it gets quiet and they go to bed and I haven't heard from this person, it's earth-shattering. It's heart-wrenching. It's traumatizing. I feel so desperate and so alone of, why me? Am I that unlovable? You know? So if you guys have felt these feelings, I know what you feel like. I know what you feel like. And if this has happened to you more than one time, I know what you feel like. I just pray that you lean into Him and you read your word and ask Him to give you the peace that passes all understanding. And I'm trying to do the same thing. You guys, I don't have it all figured out. Do I feel all those good feelings when I pray? No, absolutely not. I don't always. But it doesn't mean to stop praying, giving up on my God. And I'm not going to do that because I know He's faithful and He will heal and mend the broken and the wounds. But in the process of, even though I don't feel that way at this moment, I promise and assure you, I am so utterly broken and hurt by this. But I also know I'm going to rise above and I'm going to be a living testimony, not only to myself, but to my children. All right, guys. Well, this has been quite a talk. I think I'm gonna stop it here, and I'm gonna have to do another video. This is a lot to cover. It's a lot of emotions, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'll come back with part 2 real soon for you guys. So make sure to hit that bell and subscribe if you haven't already so you can get my notification for the next part. All right, guys, have a good night. Bye-bye.